And let's get time for everybody to get on. And once we have started recording and we are streaming. And let's get, and I can't tell you how good it is. We're good.
Just 1 second.
All right. I'll say, those of you that I can see, it's very good to see smiling Democratic faces after where I've been the past 60 days. We're good?
Yes. Just 1 second.
Okay. Everybody on that's in the waiting room? And we are recording and we are on YouTube.
Yes.
And I'd like to call this meeting of the West Virginia State Democratic Executive Committee to order. And we'll start with a brief moment of silence to use how you see fit. Thank you very much. And I will ask our secretary to call the roll to establish a quorum. Please put yourself on mute until your name is called, and then please mute yourself again once you've responded.
Hi there, everybody. We'll start. Mike Pushkin.
Here.
Teresa Torreseva. Sam Petzonk.
Here.
Alyssa Lucas.
Are you on mute?
Here by proxy. Pam Klein.
Pam. Thank you. Elaine Harris.
Here.
Thank you. Pat Maroney.
Here.
Pam Tucker Klein.
Here.
Chris Pennington. Is Chris Pennington here by proxy with Terry?
He needs to unmute.
Okay, I'll keep going. Red Greer. Cody Thompson. Jenny Craig present. Christina Basden.
I'm here. Sorry, this is Cody Thompson. I was fumbling.
That's okay. Thank you, Cody. Christina Basden.
I'm here by proxy for her.
Thank you. Is that Tim?
Yes.
Thank you. Nick Casey.
Here.
Nikki Lauer.
Here.
Lee Coons.
Here.
Pam Van Horn.
Here.
Sean Hornbuckle. Mike Wolfel. Cindy Lavender Bell.
Here.
Troy Miller.
Here.
Gabe Pena. Selena Vickers.
Here.
Dodie Dogeberger.
Here by proxy.
Okay,
Oh,
thank you.
Dottie. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Selena.
That's okay.
Okay, thank you. We'll take out the proxy. Ariana Islam.
Here.
Thank you. Wilma Steele. Marlene Midget.
Here.
Josiah Sorens.
Here.
James Griffin.
Here.
Ray Whiting. Natalie Klein. Kathy Link. Is
Here by proxy.
that Teddy?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Charles Ehlenfeld. Michael Trobert.
Here by proxy, Anna Gillespie.
Thank you. Barb Scott.
Here.
Kim Fromm. Ronald McCoy Jr. Sunny Oakland. Judith Stevens.
Here. Here, Sunny Oakland.
All right, thank you, Sunny.
Mm.
Is Judith Stevens here by proxy from Peggy?
Looks like Peggy's trying to say something. Peggy, are you here? Are you carrying
Okay.
Judy's proxy?
Okay, I'm here.
There you go.
Okay, thank you. I know why he is.
I was muted.
It's okay, thank you. Okay, Jerry Brookover. Simon Hargis.
Deb McCarthy here by proxy.
Your proxy for Simon Hargis. Who was that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. We'll come back. Is
I'm sorry, I believe
Hargis
that was somebody carrying Deb McCarthy's proxy.
here? Okay. We haven't gotten there yet.
Thank you.
Jim Cover. Is that Jim?
Somebody, it was Jim or
K-O.
Jim.
VAR. Okay. Simon Hargis. Bonnie Fruth. Tess Jackson. Ben Barkey.
Karen Coria, proxy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Floyd Sayer.
Here.
Stephanie Heck. Tammy Pritt. Tim Bias. Matt Spurlock.
Here.
Thank you. Deb McCarthy. There we go. Phyllis White. Robert Ofsa. Marcus Wilkes. Mary Ann Clater.
Here by proxy, Lindsay Cobb.
Thank you. Heather Hayes. Chase Gerald. Farron Williamson. Amanda Eastep Burton.
Oh, here by proxy.
Thank you. Amanda Shelton.
Here by proxy, Keith Lottie.
Thank you, Keith. Keith Lottie, you're here.
Here by audio only. Thank you.
Thank you. Christy Cardwell.
Here.
Kelly Elkins.
Here by proxy, Christy Cardwell.
Thank you, Robert Baker.
Here.
David Thompson. Diane Browning.
Here.
Margaret Staggers. Diane Browning was here, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Damie Spencer.
Sam Petzonk is here for him by proxy.
Okay. Thank you, Sam. Rachel Tompkins,
Here.
Brenda Weiss, Michelle Carpenter, Susan Miley,
Here.
Ryan Deems, Bob Stoltz, Belinda Vieffer, Sarah Ruff, Joey Garcia, Mark Musick, Dina Armentrout.
Here.
Thank you. Candy Sisler, Jason Armentrout.
I'm here.
Thank you. Randy Titchnell, Dorothy Kangla.
Here.
Oh, thank you, Dorothy. Virginia Sign,
Here. Here.
thank you. Richard Rector,
Here.
Charlie Streisel, Cheryl Lawrence,
Here.
Maria Russo,
Here.
Ken Collinson,
Here.
Mac Halderman,
Present.
Bonnie Brown, Patty Hamilton,
Here.
Richie Raub,
Thornton Cooper's here, proxy
Thank
for
you.
Richard Robb.
thank you. David Tucker, and I believe that's it. Anyone else joins since I called the roll?
Yes, Terry Rodaball for proxy for Chris Pennington.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else on the call that I might have missed? Okay, hearing none, we do have a quorum.
Okay, thank you very much. It's quite a roll to get through and appreciate you doing it. Thanks for everybody's patience. And thank you all for being here this evening. I know many of us are coming off a great weekend of county conventions. I've heard many good stories. I've seen a lot of good pictures, seen some good social media posts and anxious to hear more. And we will save some time at the end this meeting to hear some individual stories and some of your successes at your respective county conventions. And thank you again for everybody that was involved this weekend. It was from all, I was able to attend 2 county conventions. I know a few other people were able to attend a few more, but everybody did a great job and really thank you. And I look forward to seeing everybody at the state convention in June. I want to say a special thank you to the county chairs, county committees. We know it's a lot of hard work to orchestrate those county conventions, and our county chairs did it. And congratulations. Thank you again. I also want to thank Ryan and Corey, our staff. They have worked overtime helping counties through this process. Thank you so much. I've heard from county after county about how helpful you have been throughout this process. It looks like Marcus Wilkes is in the waiting room. And for those that don't know, Ryan has held county chair check-in every Thursday night for weeks now, answering questions, offering guidance and support. And I also want to thank Selena. She did an enormous amount of work with the delegate selection plan and helped Ryan with the Tuesday night county chairs meetings. Selena and Ryan even held a mock convention for the county chairs and county executive committee members. This was particularly helpful to new chairs that had never been to a county convention. So we appreciate Selena Vickers' hard work and the dedication to this party. Thank you very much. We also just came off a very rough legislative session. For those that were were following at home and those that were there. We do have Senate Minority Leader Wolfle on with us. I don't know if Hornbuckle is here yet. He told me he was going to be running a little bit late. Is Sean on the call yet? I see Delegate Hansen is on with us as well. So we'll get to the legislative update here in a second. Give Sean a little bit more time to get on. But thank you, Delegate Hansen and Senator Wolfle. Appreciate everything that both caucuses did during the session. We'll get back to that in a second. We have a lot of business and a packed agenda, so we'll go ahead and get started. First, we need to the reading of the previous minutes. So the minutes to the December 5th meeting and the February 9th special meeting were sent out. Is there a motion to adopt the December 5th minutes as presented?
Move to approve. Pam Klein.
Pam Klein moves to accept the minutes from December
Second.
5th. There's a second from Nick. Is
Casey.
that Nick?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
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 No latecomers there. There we go. We have one more. All right. Sounds like the minutes of December 5th are approved. Is there a motion to adopt the February 9th minutes as presented?
Elaine Harris, so move.
Okay, I heard Elaine and I heard Floyd second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Ayes have it. February 9th minutes are approved. All right. Now, I would like to briefly
If I
call
could-
on. What's that?
So sorry. I just want to double check. Did you say that Senator Wolfle is on?
I believe I saw his name on here.
Okay. I had it marked absent. Just double checking. Thank you.
Okay. Senator Wolf, are you on?
He does appear to be on, just unmuted.
He's on the call. I don't know if you can hear us. Senator, can you hear us?
Thank you.
Well, in the meantime, Delegate Hansen, you want to hop on for a second? Just give we just wanted to, I was hoping to thank the caucuses for the hard work that was done during this session. As there was some, a lot of bad stuff happened, but even more bad stuff didn't happen. And that was due to the hard work of a very close knit team that was working up there. So, Evan, you want to say a few words?
Sure. I would agree with your assessment of it. It could have been a lot worse. A lot of the worst bills, like the Women's Bill of Rights and the abortion bill and some other ones, we were able to run out the clock on or otherwise stop from passing. So while we were not able to pass a lot of our priorities, we were pretty effective for a small group of people. And we appreciate all the support from people that were following closely and helping get the word out. That made a big difference.
Thank you very much, Delegate Hansen. And Senator Wolf, are you connected yet? Okay, I'll just briefly say that many of the bills that took up a lot of our time, really these meaningless culture war bills, the vast majority of them didn't pass, and that was due to a lot of hard work that was done up there. Adding late night amendments. They'd come in the next day and see 32 amendments on the Women's Bill of Rights, for example, or running out the clock on some of the stuff on the last night. They didn't get the kindergarten carry arming teachers. That didn't pass. The changes to what we already have as an abortion ban, that didn't pass. And there was a lot of the stuff that was talked about ad nauseum wound up not passing. Unfortunately, that took time away from a lot of the issues that we really needed to be addressing. Not the least of which is access to childcare, the foster care crisis, so many issues that were left undone. So it was probably the worst session that I've seen in 10 years, but we were able to make it a lot less worse with the hard work that was done. And if Delegate Hornbuckle or Senator Wolf will want to add to that later, make time for them as well. But we're going to move on to the election of temporary members of the Standing Committee of the Democratic National Convention. Okay. All right. We'll elect temporary members. Just note that it's temporary members to the Standing Committee of the Democratic National Convention. And the information about the role and responsibilities were provided with the 30-day public notice. Candidates for temporary members of these committees can be any Democrat in West Virginia. Those selected for these positions must be willing to attend their respective committee meetings that may occur prior to June 15th, 2024, and understand that they will be responsible for any costs related to participation on that committee. We ask that those interested submit a letter of interest by 5 p.m. today. We received 3 letters of interest. First, our parliamentarian Nikki Lauer was nominated actually to be considered for the Rules Committee. Excuse me. Jared Powell of Marion County requested to be considered for the Credentials Committee. And Adrian Daring from Mon County requested to be considered for the Platform Committee. So is there a motion to accept these 3 to be temporary standing committee members to the committees that they requested?
Move to approve, Pam Klein.
Okay, got a motion from Pam Klein. Is there a second?
I second. Rachel.
Okay, Rachel Tompkins seconds. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
All right. Sounds like the ayes have it. And
Can you-
congratulate. What's that?
Can you just restate those names for me?
Yeah, I was
sorry.
getting ready to. I want
Sorry.
to congratulate Nikki Lauer for the Rules Committee, Jared Powell to the Credentials Committee, and Adrian During for the Platform Committee. So thank you all very much for stepping up and congratulations.
Wolf was trying to get on my phone.
Okay. And we'll send the names of those that have been elected to the DNC. We appreciate your willingness to serve.
Mr.
Okay.
Chair,
Yes.
could I just ask, I know Jared and I know Nikki, would it be possible for those letters just to be sent to the entire committee? I'm afraid I don't know Adrian, just to sort of help us know who the folks are who will be filling in for those roles.
Sure. Is Adrian on the call? So Adrian serves on the Mon County Executive Committee and has been very helpful in winning some of the seats that we do have up there, and has been a hardworking volunteer and advocate for the Democratic Party for years. But sure, we can make those available.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We'll move on to our reports. First, I'm not going to give a long report. We have a lot to do. I've already really, I could express again just my thanks and my gratitude for all the hard work that went into this weekend. That was very successful, and just look forward to moving forward, through the primary and everybody coming together and supporting our Democratic ticket through the fall, and working with everybody on a successful state convention and on to Chicago in August. I'm going to, so our vice chair is see where we are now. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, we were able to connect with Senator Wolfel now. So if there's, as for unanimous consent to return to, I guess it was under old business. I think it was too. I just hear from Senator Wolfel briefly. Senator, can you connect now?
Thank you, Mike.
There you are.
And apologies to everyone. I'm a bit technologically challenged. I just thank you for giving me a minute to speak to the group. A few things that I think are important to say. The people on this call are the reason that we're, as a party, going to come back in our state. We've now had 10 sessions of supermajority leadership, and as hard as it is for us to see up close during the session, this is percolating down to the voters, and your hard work is not gone unnoticed or will not go unrewarded. So let me just say that yes, it was your leader, the leaders that you folks have elected worked hard. Our MVP was Mike Caputo, who has forgotten more about leadership than I'll ever know. Not to mention Jared Pushkin and all the other folks, Evan and Sean and Kayla, et cetera. But we fought the good fight, and we can honestly say that. I'm not everybody's favorite Democrat. I'm still the guy that thinks of us as a really big tent, and I believe we are and will prevail that way. But my long-winded point would be we worked hard. We avoided a lot of some of the negative stuff. Mainly the men and women in the House did that, a little bit in the Senate. But just want to thank everybody for being on the call and for all you do for our party. And I can promise you better days are ahead and in the not too distant future.
Well, thank you again, Minority Leader Wolfel. We appreciate all that was done, and definitely don't sell the that small Senate caucus short. There were some bills that died over there as well. Everything didn't die in the House. A lot of stuff died in the Senate, including kindergarten carry, which was one of the worst ideas out of many bad ideas that was moving this year. So we appreciate what y'all did over there. And I just want real quick, you brought up Delegate Young, and I have to point this out. I was hoping she could get on. It was a tactic that I hadn't seen and done before, but of course we can read bills, and we did. And we did read some bills, which slowed a lot of stuff down, wound up killing some bills, some really bad ideas at the end. But another tactic that we tried on the last day, she went in before and was there all night drafting amendments. She drafted 32 amendments to the Women's Bill of Rights. So when it came up on the system the next day, the Republicans saw that on the last day when time is tight, they would have had to take up 32 amendments on that bill. And that's really what led to the demise to that bill, which we all know had absolutely nothing to do with women. It had nothing to do with rights. It was a very divisive bill. Really, it was just an anti-trans bill. And Kayla's hard work led to the end of that bill. So if she was on here, I thank her. Yeah. Thanks again, Evan. Yeah. And thank you again, Senator Wolf.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. And it just goes to show we've got to start eating into this supermajority there and start restoring some balance to our state government, whether it's in the legislature and our local governments and our county and municipal governments, Board of Public Works. We've got to start eating into this Republican rule. We've got to start restoring some balance and restoring some sanity. But I guess that's going to be the end of my report. Vice Chair Torzeva, speaking of good candidates, is she's attending a Meet the Candidate event down here in Kanawha County, and she might be able to get on later, but she's not with us yet. So I'm going to move on to second Vice Chair, Sam Petzong.
Trying to get my video to open here. Okay. Thanks, Mike. You know, the biggest update that I have is really through my work on the communications working group. We have continually distributed at least once a month, sometimes twice a month, emails about current issues that our folks can communicate about at the local level. Everyone should be getting those emails with updates, on sort of the highest priority issue that seems to be grabbing the attention of most Democratic people around the state, and we're trying to share that information so that we can all stay focused on a similar message about a similar topic during a similar period of time, so that hopefully our collective communications efforts can break through the news cycle, break through the people's feeds in their social media, and our common views as Democrats may take hold and become better understood that way in our communities. And so the communications working group's continuing to do that. We shared a bunch of information also through that monthly email about the county conventions, and helping to make sure everybody was supporting the chairman and the staff's efforts to make sure everybody had the same, preparation and comfort level going into those county conventions. I would just also say, we continue to promote our recurring contribution drive, and we've gotten the donations up to $1,500 a month. That's a pretty substantial increase from what I understand over historical levels, and but we want to see that grow. We still don't have the participation that we'd like to see from all the state executive committee members. So again, as I've said before, if you can give or raise the equivalent of $100 a month, that's $20 per person, and ask 4 friends to do the same. That's doable, even if you can't give 20, if you can give $5 per month, and ask 4 friends to do the same. We will reach the budget. We really need to be raising about $150,000 a year internally to sustain the operations that we need in these critical election years. So we can get there. We are making progress in that direction. So I thank everybody to remember, it's not all on your shoulders. Please ask your community members, your loyal Democrats, to give monthly whatever they can to wvdemocrats.com. And, I'm also really excited and gratified that we have gotten some enthusiastic participation in the platform and resolutions development through these county conventions. I know that's been an interest of all of ours, and I look forward to participating in the platform development going forward so that we can have some real coalescence around those broad principles. And then any particular initiatives that people want to see through resolutions, that'll also be an interesting process. But this is something I'm excited about. I think it gives us a chance to make our party even more democratic with a lowercase d, as we like to say. And I was glad to see that kind of discussion and coalescence during the county conventions, and I look forward to more of that in the coming weeks. So thank you to everybody who's been involved in making that happen. Thank you. Thanks, Ryan and Mike and everybody else. That's all from me.
Thank you very much, Sam. Briefly, Jenny, I'm looking at the chat here. Charlie Streisel is on. I don't know if you heard him during the roll call. Mark him present. Thanks again, Sam. We're going to move on to the treasurer's report. Nick, you ready to do a treasurer's report?
Yes, for brief treasure, pardon my lighting. Brief treasurer's report. The Sam's efforts to engage people to make bigger contributions or more regular contributions is working. Just for what it's worth, we have a gross total of cash in the bank today of $46,024.69. And that's split, as we all may recall, into 2 accounts. The federal account is $16,223.95, and the state account is $29,874. So it's a total of $46,024.69. I did not have an opportunity for this meeting to get together the breakdown of that, but as you all recall, if you will go to the Federal Election Commission for the West Democratic Party, you can see the exact breakdown of revenue and expenditure on the federal account, what came in, what went out, and in like manner on the Secretary of State's account, you can see that, although we're in between cycles. On the Secretary of State's account, filings, you can see you will be able to see when filed, the exact breakdown of the 29,800, what came in, what went out. So abbreviated report tonight, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Thank you very much, Nick. I did see that Delegate Hamilton just hopped on. Anitra, do you want to say a couple words? Say hello.
Good evening, everyone. Glad to be able to hop on for a few minutes. I had a great first session. I learned a lot. It's great to be among a great team that was able to guide me through the first session. I hate that we have to focus on so many bad things that a lot of the good things didn't go through, but I definitely think we made a great impression this session. We were able to stand united, use our strategy and skill to send a strong message about what we don't want to see happen in our state, but also advocate for some of the things that we would like to see happen. So I'm looking forward to building our party and hopefully having more voices and people together for next session so that we can see some of the good things that we want to see happen in West Virginia take place.
Thank you very much. I just want to say, you came in, right before the session, really, and as a first session, man, you had a great rookie year, and incredibly impressed. I just want everybody to give Anitra Hamilton a round of applause because she kicked butt this year. She was awesome. One of the best, probably the best rookie floor speech for your very first speech. One of the best rookie floor speeches I've ever seen. Definitely knew what you were doing right off the bat. Came and hit the ground running. So thanks again. And yeah. Okay, we'll get back to speaking of the session, I was just informed that the governor vetoed the vaccine bill. So that's good news. So we are hopefully safe from measles and polio and rubella for yet another year until they take another look at it. Actually, that's not official yet. That's just on social media, but hopefully it's true. Hopefully it's real news. But I got word that the governor possibly vetoed that bill, so it would be good. Okay, last I want to go to the executive director report. I want Ryan to give us an update on next steps for the state convention. Ryan, you ready to go?
Yeah, just 1 second. I'm sorry. Sean Hornbuckle was just joining, so I was making sure he got in.
Okay, well, do you want to wait and have Sean say a few words real quick?
Sure.
So we, I don't know what his schedule's like for the evening. I just real quickly want to say one of the reasons why the House caucus was able to do what we did and slow down and stop so many bad ideas is because of the leadership of our new minority leader. He's been a delegate for 10 years, but it's his first session as minority leader, and it was great having a true blue Democrat that listened to the concerns of the caucus and helped us strategize and came up with just was a great leader on the floor, and I can't say enough, so I'm gonna let Sean say it. Sean, you on yet?
I think he may be joining.
Okay.
I can go ahead through mine if you want to and come back.
Go ahead. We'll get Sean afterwards.
Sure. So this is just a quick update on the next steps for the state convention. There comes Sean. And I'll come on screen. Hey, everybody. So Chair Pushkin asked me to give a quick update on next steps for the state convention. And if you're not muted, please mute. All right. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you to everyone that put in work and energy into planning and promoting and producing the county conventions that we had statewide on Saturday. We had at least 38, possibly a few more that we weren't actually aware of. We found out about one today that had one that wasn't on our list. So we're appreciative to everyone. We will be sending more information about that. So to everyone, as the counties report back, we will get our delegate list to the state convention with our alternates, and that list will be made available. The list of committee members is also coming in, and as soon as that is available, we will share that out for our rules, credentials, and resolutions committees. Democrats from counties without a convention can request to be a delegate. Our delegate selection plan provided a process for that, and we want to make sure no one gets left out. I want to give a quick shout out to Chair Kuntz, who had a Democrat from Barber County attend the Jefferson County Convention with their partner, and he was able to share that information with me, and we're going to connect her with the Barber folks and get her signed up. We also have been sharing on social media and on our website ways for folks that are in counties that did not have conventions to contact us. And in fact, we've had several folks already reach out prior to the conventions to say, we noticed that our county's not meeting. How do we get involved? And we're connecting them. So counties have 10 days from the county conventions to fill out their delegations. We are hoping that we can get as many of those close to 1,500 delegates to Charleston. If you need help or your county needs help, please don't hesitate to reach out. If you have your delegate information and you need to send it to the state party, please send it to an email at convention2024@wvdemocrats.com. That way we can keep it managed well. Once we have our standing committee rosters in place, we're going to roll out dates and times for them to meet. That will be coming soon. As you all are aware, the convention will be June 14th and 15th at the Charleston Coliseum and Convention Center. We do already have a room block at the Marriott booked, and that information will be sent out as soon as we have the list of delegates. And that's about all I have at this point. If you need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. Again, if you've got convention information, convention2024@wvdemocrats.com. My email is ryan@wvdemocrats.com. And we are going to be doing a major education push for the next 2 months on folks that want to be delegates to the national convention in Chicago. The deadline for that, as a reminder, is May 15th. And so that's approximately 2 months left to apply to be a candidate for delegate to the national convention. As a quick reminder, we will be electing 13 district level delegates on June 14th. That's Friday. Those will be elected from the congressional districts and also 2 alternates that evening. And then the next day, we will have 4 at-large delegates elected. We will also have 3 standing committee members elected, and we'll have 3 pledged party leaders and elected officials elected. So more information on that will be coming forth, and it's going to be an exciting convention. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Chair Pushkin.
Thank you, Ryan. Any questions about the delegate selection process? I mean, that was pretty thorough. Are there any questions about the delegate selection process or the upcoming state or national convention? Like I said, we have the email address set up at, say that one more time, Ryan, convention at
Convention 2024.
2024 at westvirginiademocrats.com for any correspondence regarding the convention. Before I get back to the order of business, I don't want to make use of Minority Leader Hornbuckle's time. Sean, you want to say a couple words?
Let me unmute myself first, but no, I'm just appreciative to see everybody on this call. It was a very, very trying session, but I am fortunate enough to have 10 really talented members, and we were able to have maybe the most successful session in killing and stopping a lot of bad legislation since me, myself, Pushkin, Fluharty, who we all came in together back in 2014. So, right now, unfortunately, we don't have an abundance of numbers to be on the offense very much. but we were able to get it done. And I am proud as hell of sharing the caucus with those other 10 members. From the day that I took charge in our caucus, I said we were going to lead with compassion. We have two things on our mind. Does it help people? And does it put or save money in their pockets? And we govern that way. And again, very, very proud of that. I also said that, I have a very diverse caucus. While I'm more progressive, we have some, conservative Dems, and they are welcome. We have some more liberal Dems, and they are welcome. And so under my leadership, there's no litmus test. We're going to pull the rope in the same direction to get it done for everybody that's in West Virginia and the most vulnerable people in West Virginia. So it was, again, a very exciting but very challenging first year of leadership. Looking forward to helping a lot of the Democrats that are on this call this evening and ones that are not here to make sure that we are victorious and can gain some more numbers in the fall. That's very, very important. I mean, obviously, we have different factions. We have, the state party. We have the caucus. And again, while we have the same vision in mind, we are not the same, and we work in different fashions to get to that same finish line. But it's very important work. And so, again, I'm just excited to be able to get on. I wish I could have been on earlier. Had some meetings at work go a little bit long, but just want to be available. And I can't wait to after the primary to really dig in and figure out how do we get more numbers up at the State House.
Thank you very much, Minority Leader Hornbuckle. Again, you did a great job. And as somebody who's up close watching, you did a great job and able to listen to everybody, all members of the caucus, and we worked together very cohesively. And it showed in those last couple of days when we were really killing bills left and right. So good job.
It was a lot of fun killing that stuff, man.
Thank you. All right, I'm gonna get back to the order of business here, and there has back to the upcoming convention. There has been a lot of interest in developing our party platform, and this is done every 4 years by the state convention, of course, not the committee, but the convention. The bylaws provide that all of the members of this committee and the Affirmative Action Committee are members of the platform committee. So this committee and the AAC will act as the platform committee, and this makes our committee equally divided with the diversity representation. Of course, everything will be voted on at the convention. So all of the delegates at the convention get to vote on the planks of the platform and resolutions. But this committee, along with the AAC, will meet as the platform committee. And I've asked second Vice Chair Sam Petsong to be the temporary chair of this important committee, and he has agreed to do so. Sam, thank you, and you'll be hearing from Sam in coming weeks on how this comprehensive process will work. I appreciate all of you. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
Lastly, before we move on to the Board of Appeals report, it's been unfortunate that we've lost our charter with Young Democrats of America. West Virginia hasn't been chartered since July of 2023. Youth are critical to the Democratic Party, and we must have a process to organize youth within the party. So I've asked Corey Roman to serve as Youth Outreach Coordinator for the state party. If you have interest in organizing, please, if you have any youth that are interested in organizing, please get them in touch with Corey, and he's going to be acting as a Youth Outreach Coordinator for the state party. Now, I'm going to move on to Board of Appeals. The Board of Appeals, we have some new rules involved with the Board of Appeals, and the Board of Appeals has the designation of being the group that handles grievances. And when I became chair, we inherited rules of procedure that were lacking in several ways. For example, those rules did not require that we list findings of fact or file a written report of the decision of the board. We have since updated those rules of procedure. The updated rules of procedure for the Board of Appeals now closely align with the challenge process of the Democratic National Committee. The two of the three grievances that the board will report on tonight, though, were considered before the new rules were adopted. and only have a finding to accept or deny the grievance. The third grievance had the new rules in place, and the full report with findings was sent to this committee. So you can expect that future Board of Appeals reports will be similar to the more comprehensive report. So going forward, there will be these findings sent to the entire committee because that's the new rules that we're going to be followed, thanks to suggestions that were also made by this committee. But I do chair the Board of Appeals. However, I was named in 2 of the grievances and therefore recused myself from those 2 grievances, those 2 hearings. First Vice Chair Torseva, who I think recently got on the call, chaired both of those hearings. The hearings were noticed and live streamed on our YouTube channel for the public. There has been a request to appeal one of the decisions of the board. The decision of the board may be overturned by a 2/3 of the state executive committee. And so I've asked a member of the board, Susan Miley, to present the report and handle the appeal, since I was named in it. Is there any objection to Susan Miley overseeing the reports and the appeal? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to turn it over to Susan.
Oh, my dog's barking right when that happened.
Turn it over to Susan and Susan's dog.
Sorry about that. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So I'm going to start with Hively v. Pushkin and just read out what the recap of what happened on that one first. On October 28th, 2023, the West Virginia Democratic Party Board of Appeals received a grievance from Jacob Hively that requested that the Executive Committee elections held on September 30th, 2023 for Congressional District 1 Vice Chair Female and Audit Subcommittee members be found null and void, and that new elections be noticed and held. The WVDP Board of Appeals hearing was held on January 18th, 2024, virtually via Zoom at 4 p.m. The meeting was accessible to the public via a YouTube live stream on the West Virginia Democrats YouTube page. Chair Pushkin recused himself as chair of the Board of Appeals due to being the respondent per the West Virginia Democratic Party bylaws. The vice chair chaired the Board of Appeals for Hively v. Pushkin hearing. The WVDP Board of Appeals ruled that the grievance requesting that the elections held on September 30th, 2023 for Congressional District 1 Vice Chair Female and Audit Committee be declared null and void, be denied and dismissed, and that the elections will stand. On the second grievance that we dealt with, this one's going to be long, so just bear with me as I read it out loud. I'll do the best I can. I am going to shorten anything that I can as far as using just the acronyms. Introduction background. This matter was initiated by the grievance filed with the Board of Appeals on January 8th, 2024 by Jared Powell, who was recognized in 2023 as the West Virginia Young Democrat of the Year against Jacob Hively, purportedly the president of the West Virginia Young Democrats. Mike Pushkin, chair of the West Virginia State Democratic Executive Committee, sent an email dated February 5th, 2024, notifying Hively of the hearing and requesting that he provide a response by February 12th, 2024. Pushkin caused a letter dated February 7th, 2024 to be sent to Hively by certified mail. Return receipt requested. Hively did not pick up the letter. Upon notice to all parties and the public, the BOA held a virtual Zoom hearing, which was live streamed via YouTube beginning at approximately 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on February 16th, 2024, which was concluded approximately 3 p.m. that day. Pushkin chaired the hearing. All 4 Board of Appeals members were present, as was Powell. Neither Hively nor anyone representing him appeared at that meeting. Sorry, they've been so quiet all evening. Although requested by the Board of Appeals, Hively failed to submit a response to the grievance, nor did he submit a written statement or any evidence to the hearing. Powell testified at the hearing and submitted documentary evidence for which members of the Board of Appeals asked questions. At the closing of the hearing, the BOA held the hearing open for submission of post-hearing briefs to be filed with the BOA within 3 calendar days immediately following close of the hearing. The BOA reserved a decision until after filing of any post-hearing briefs and requests for additional information. Hively did not file a post-hearing brief. PAL filed a post-hearing brief. Additionally, an email dated February 16th, 2024 was sent by the BOA to Hively requesting that he provide certain documents and other information to the Board of Appeals within 24 hours following the February 16th hearing. The requested information was not provided. Article 3, Section F12 of the Board of Appeals rules provides the Board of Appeals shall make and file a written decision within 30 calendar days of the completion of the hearing or the receipt of the last brief filed, whichever comes later, which report shall include findings of fact, conclusions of law to include party rules, and a disposition of the grievance. The report shall be served on all parties to the grievance, shall be reported to the West Virginia State Democratic Executive Committee at the next regular meeting, and shall be made available to the public upon request. Democratic Party rules refers collectively to governing documents, which include the charter and bylaws of the Democratic Party of the United States, national charter and DNC bylaws. DNC bylaws, the 6 basic elements of an open party, and West Virginia Democratic Party bylaws. Section 2, finding of fact. 1, Hively was never appointed or elected as president of the West Virginia Young Democrats. Number 2, Hively was not appointed as executive vice president in August 2022 or to any other office of the West Virginia Young Democrats per the provisions of the WVYD Constitution. Number 3, Hively did not have the authority or standing to claim that he was the president of the West Virginia Young Democrats on November 2022 or act accordingly. Number 4, the West Virginia Young Democrats is an organization which has historically been recognized by the West Virginia State Democratic Executive Committee and therefore is subject to the rules of the National Democratic Party and those of the WVSDEC, as well as those of the Young Democrats of America, and where applicable to Robert's Rule and were applicable to Robert's Rules of Order, most recent version. Number 5, up to July 2023, the West Virginia Young Democrats was chartered by the Young Democrats of America. Number 6, the YDA is a national organization which charters local Young Democrat organizations, primarily in states. Number 7, historically, WVYD has been chartered by YDA and recognized by WVSDEC and has had voting representation on the West Virginia State Democratic Executive Committee. Number 8, beginning July 2023 to date, the WVYD has not been chartered by the YDA. According to the Young Democrat of America President Watham Okama, I hope I didn't massacre that name, the WVYD charter expired in July 2023, and to date, the WVYD has not been rechartered. Number 9, on November 7th, 2023, Hively, holding himself out as the president of the West Virginia Young Democrats, which at the time was not chartered by the Young Democrats of America, issued a 30-day notice to a very limited number of individuals announcing a West Virginia Young Democrat meeting on December 9th, 2023 at 6 p.m. via Zoom. The primary purpose of which was to elect officers, including the president. The 30-day notice issued by Hively specifically refers to new business, election of officers. Number 10, the December 9th meeting was not publicly noticed and was not open to the public. Number 11, the West Virginia Young Democrats Constitution provides that the WVYD officers must be elected via convention. Number 12, the meeting of December 9th failed to meet the requirements provided for the WVYD Constitution for a convention to elect officers. Number 13, the meeting of December 9th did not meet the requirements of the Democratic Party rules regarding effective notice, public notice, or open meetings. Additionally, the meeting did not meet some of the 6 basic elements of an open party in that the meeting was not publicized fully in a manner as to ensure notice to all interested parties, and the qualification of offices and the procedures for election were not fully publicized. Number 14, in addition, Hively did not respond to the Board of Appeals request for the recording of December 9th meeting, bank account information for the November 2022 to present, minutes of the WVYD meetings from November 2022 to present, and a copy of the legal opinion referenced in the December 9th meeting, allegedly stating that Hively had the authority to appoint himself president and to appoint other officers who, under the Constitution, must be elected. Section 3, conclusion of law and findings. A, related to Hively as misrepresentation. WVYD Constitution, Article 5, 10, was that? Section 7.1 and 7.2 provide, in the event of the president unable or unwilling to continue his duties, the executive vice president will fulfill the remainder of the outgoing president's term. If both the president and the executive vice president are unable or unwilling to continue the duties of the presidency, the state executive committee will elect a member of the committee to fulfill the term as president. 7.2, other officer vacancies. If any other office becomes vacant or no member of the West Virginia Young Democrats runs for an elected office, the president shall appoint a member of the West Virginia Young Democrats in good standing to fulfill the remainder of the term with the advice and consent of the state executive committee. Emphasis added. Finding, the Board of Appeals finds that Hively was never appointed executive vice president of the West Virginia Young Democrats according to the process provided for in the West Virginia Young Democrats Constitution, nor did he have the authority or standing to claim that he was president in November 2022. Additionally, the Board of Appeals finds that Hively was not elected or appointed president of the West Virginia Young Democrats at the December 9th meeting or thereafter. Finding, the Board of Appeals finds that Hively did not have the authority or standing to call the December 9th meeting, nor did he have the authority or standing to appoint officers. All actions of the December 9th meeting are therefore found to be null and void. B, related to the loss of charter. The Young Democrats of America provides charters to state Young Democrat organizations according to their standing rules. Rule 3, which pertains to applications for charters, requires, among other things, the most recent unit convention, a copy of the unit's governing documents, and the unit's code of conduct, a list of unit officers, dates of election, estimated dates of term expiration, and certification signed by at least one member of the Democratic National Committee representing the applying unit's territory, stating that the unit is recognized, sanctioned, or authorized by the Democratic Party of that territory as that territory's official organization of Young Democrats, and that the unit's officers were elected subsequent to the preceding national convention. Young Democrats of America President Quentin Watham Okama informed the West Virginia Democratic Party via email that as of July 2023, the West Virginia Young Democrats are not chartered. The Board of Appeals recognizes and credits the statement provided by President Watham Okama. C, related to the abandonment of case. The West Virginia State Democratic Executive Committee bylaws, Article 8, Section 3 provides any party to the controversy who fails to appear at the duly called meeting without good cause sufficient in law shall be deemed to have abandoned his or her case, and a decision will automatically be entered against him or her. Hively did not respond to any attempts to communicate with him, nor did he or any representative appear at the hearing, nor did he provide any response to the grievance. Finding, the Board of Appeals finds that Hively abandoned this matter and that the Board of Appeals finds in favor of Powell. D, related to party rules and recognition by the West Virginia State Democratic Executive Committee. The Democratic Party has rules that provide for full participation in all party affairs. These rules are in place so that every interested person knows when meetings are to take place, how to participate, and how to run for office, if they are eligible and if they choose to do so. Holding a closed meeting, such as the December 9th meeting, without public notice and without notice to members of the organization is counter to not only specific rules of the party, but is counter to the spirit of the Democratic Party, which values and prioritizes participation, transparency, and inclusion. The Charter Article 9, Section 11 requires that all meetings of the Democratic National Committee, the Executive Committee, and all other official party committees, commissions, and bodies shall be open to the public, and votes shall not be taken by secret ballot or use of the unit rule. The December 9th meeting did not comply with this provision. The December 9th meeting was not open to the public, and interested parties were left in a Zoom waiting room attempting to enter. Regarding effective notice, the West Virginia Democratic Party bylaws, Article 2, Section 3 requires that such meetings must be held in places accessible to all party members. Additionally, notice of meeting shall be sent to a confirmed email or regular mail of all members of the respective committees, caucuses, or recognized organizations. The December 9th meeting was not accessible to all party members, nor were all members notified of the meeting. Regarding open meetings, West Virginia State Democratic Executive Committee bylaws, Article 2, Section 4 require that all meetings at all levels of the West Virginia Democratic Party, including organizations recognized by the West Virginia Democratic Party, shall be open to the public, and votes shall not be taken by secret ballot or use of the unit rule. Emphasis added. The notice for the December 9th meeting violated these provisions. The meeting was not publicly noticed and was not open to the public. The 6 basic elements of an open party adopted by the Democratic National Convention and provided for in the West Virginia Democratic Party bylaws. Article 1 provides element 3, the time and space for all public meetings of the West Virginia Democratic Party on all levels should be publicized fully and in such a manner as to assure timely notice to all interested persons. Such meetings must be held in places acceptable to all party members and large enough to accommodate all interested persons. Element 5, the West Virginia Democratic Party should publicize fully and in such a manner as to assure notice to all interested parties a full description of legal and practical procedures for the selection of Democratic Party officers and representatives on all levels. Element 6, the West Virginia Democratic Party should publicize fully and in such a manner as to assure notice to all interested parties a complete description of the legal and practical qualifications of all positions as officers and representatives of the state Democratic Party. Such publication should be done in a timely fashion so that all prospective candidates or applicants for any elected or appointed position within the West Virginia Democratic Party will have full and adequate opportunity to compete for office. The notice for the December 9th meeting and the appointment of officers violated these provisions. Finding, the Board of Appeals finds that the December 9th meeting violated party rules related to effective notice, open meetings, and the 6 basic elements of an open party, and therefore all actions at the December 9th meeting are null and void. The West Virginia Young Democrats must follow their own constitution unless it conflicts with another governing authority. The West Virginia Young Democrats Constitution was not followed with regard to designating officers, holding meetings, and holding an annual convention, noticing the December 9th meeting, and holding the December meeting and the nomination and election of officers. The National Charter 10, Section 3 requires each official body of the Democratic Party recognized by or created under the authority of this charter shall adopt and conduct its affair in accordance with the written rules, which rules shall be consistent with this charter, the bylaws, and the other provisions adopted pursuant to the authority of the charter, including resolutions or other actions of the National Convention. The West Virginia Young Democrats has not conducted its affairs consistent with Democratic Party rules. The bylaws of the West Virginia State Democratic Executive Committee, Article 9, Section 1 provides the West Virginia State Democratic Executive Committee is the supreme governing authority of the Democratic Party in West Virginia and shall have control and supervision over all matters relating to or affecting the party organization and campaign. All other committee, clubs, and organizations, incorporated or unincorporated, posting as a segment of the Democratic Party within the state or within the political subdivision thereof shall be subordinate thereto and under its direction. Organizations recognized by the West Virginia State Democratic Executive Committee shall comply with the bylaws of the Executive Committee, the National Charter, the DNC bylaws, and the 6 elements of an open party. YDA is recognized by the National Democratic Party Charter, and the WVYD, an organization formally chartered by YDA, has historically been recognized by the West Virginia Democratic Party, and therefore the WVYD must conduct its affairs in accordance with the written rules, which rules are to be consistent with the National Charter, the DNC bylaws, and other provisions adopted pursuant to authority of the National Charter, including resolutions or other actions of the National Convention, including the 6 basic elements of an open party and the WVDP bylaws. Finding, the Board of Appeals finds that the WVYD has not conducted its affairs in accordance with written rules, which are consistent with party rules, and therefore is not recognized by the State Executive Committee. related to the managing accounts of the West Virginia Young Democrats and potential development of a new recognized West Virginia Young Democrat organization. The WVYD has effectively been without leadership for some time now. Assuming there are young Democrats in West Virginia that wish to organize and have an organization recognized by the State Executive Committee and or chartered with Young Democrats of America, they will need to know what is needed to do so. Finding, the Board of Appeals finds that in the event that an entity representing Young Democrats in West Virginia seeks a charter with YDA and recognition by the State Executive Committee, it must first comply with party rules, including adopting written rules that are consistent with party rules, and then make application to YDA for a charter and to the West Virginia State Democratic Executive Committee for recognition. It will be up to the State Executive Committee to determine whether to recognize the entity. Order. The Board of Appeals orders that Hively turn over all West Virginia Young Democrats records and accounts of WVYD to include banking, social media, postal, etc., and the West Virginia State Democratic Executive Committee is authorized to take legal action should Hively fail to comply. Regarding WVYD finances, in an additional issue brought to the attention of the Board of Appeals, but no documentation was provided when requested, was related to the finances of the West Virginia Young Democrats. The West Virginia Young Democrats organization charter expired as of July 23rd, 2023. Although the charter was expired, the state of West Virginia campaign financial statements continue to be filed with the West Virginia Secretary of State. The most recent filing, dated December 4th, 2023, is for the reporting period 2023 third quarter report. This financial statement shows under the cash balance summary an ending cash balance of $4,293.60. This financial statement also shows Mr. Chase Gerald as the treasurer, and his name appears in the oath/affirmation swearing and affirming the truth and accuracy of the statement. Pursuant to Bylaws Article 6, Section 1, the bylaws of the West Virginia Democratic Party, the West Virginia State Democratic Executive Committee is the supreme governing authority of the Democratic Party in West Virginia and shall have control and supervision over all matters relating to or affecting the party organizations. All other political committees, clubs, and organizations incorporated or unincorporated as a segment of the Democratic Party within the state or within the political subdivision thereof shall be subordinate thereto and under its direction. Order. Because there is currently no chartered organization known as the West Virginia Young Democrats, the cash balance of $4,293.60, less any recurring bank charges and web charges that may have reduced the cash balance since the reporting period of 2023 third quarter report, shall be turned over to the West Virginia State Democratic Executive Committee by Jacob Hively, the last acting president of the expired West Virginia Young Democrats, or Chase Gerald, the last acting treasurer of the expired West Virginia Young Democrats, within 7 calendar days of the adoption of this ruling. Additionally, any and all bank records from November 2022 to present pertaining to the West Virginia Young Democrats shall be provided to the West Virginia State Executive Committee by Jacob Hively or Chase Gerald within 7 calendar days of the adoption of this ruling. Order. The West Virginia State Democratic Executive Committee shall hold such funds to support the development and creation of the new West Virginia Young Democrats statewide organization and development of county and or regional Young Democrat clubs seeking to become chartered. When a statewide West Virginia Young Democrats committee is chartered by Young Democrats of America, registers with the West Virginia Secretary of State as a political committee, and receives written confirmation of final acceptance of registration from the West Virginia Secretary of State, the West Virginia State Democratic Executive Committee shall contribute any remaining balance of the funds to the newly chartered statewide West Virginia Young Democrats. The State Executive Committee will assist in any required filings with the West Virginia State Secretary of State to publicly document and transfer the transfer of the funds and closing of the now expired West Virginia Young Democrats organization and the contribution of the funds to a newly chartered statewide West Virginia Young Democrats organization. Order. In the event the funds and bank records are not timely provided to the West Virginia State Democratic Executive Committee, the chair of the West Virginia State Democratic Executive Committee is directed to initiate legal proceedings to obtain control of the funds and bank records, adopted February 22nd, 2024. And there is a link on there to the YouTube meeting. Okay. So that was that was the board report for Powell versus Lively. I will move on to Sturm versus the West Virginia Democratic Party decision, July 25th, 2023. On May 18th, 2023, the West Virginia Democratic Party received a grievance from Seth Sturm. The West Virginia Democratic Party Board of Appeals held a hearing on July 25th, 2023. As Chair Pushkin has mentioned in the grievance, he recused himself and Vice Chair Torreseva presided over the 1.5-hour hearing. At the end of the hearing, the board was polled and unanimously ruled to deny grievance. Background information in the relation to this issue. On September 12th, 2022, Grievance sent an email to the West Virginia Democratic Party leadership and some West Virginia Democratic Party members stating that he and the other Indigenous Caucus board members resign effective September 13th, 2022, and that they dissolved the Indigenous Caucus effective the same day. On April 13th, 2023, the grievance sent an email to the West Virginia Democratic Executive Committee members stating that he rescinds his resignation and noticed an emergency meeting on April 17th, 2023, 4 days later, to elect officers for the Indigenous Caucus. On April 17th, 2023, Chair Pushkin sent a letter to the grievant instructing him to cease and desist. On May 18th, 2023, the grievant filed a grievance to the state party with 4 attachments that can be viewed in the same document. On July 24th, 2023, Chair Pushkin filed a response with 13 exhibits labeled and linked with the document as exhibits A through M. On July 25th, 2023, the West Virginia Democratic Party's Board of Appeals held an approximately 1.5-hour hearing, which was live streamed on YouTube and can be viewed here. On December 27th, 2023, the grievant sent an appeal to the West Virginia Democratic Party requesting that the West Virginia Democratic Party Executive Committee overrule the decision of the Board of Appeals. The grievant will have 10 minutes to present an appeal to the West Virginia Democratic Executive Committee. The respondent will have 10 minutes to respond. I'd like to ask Mr. Sturm to unmute and welcome Mr. Sturm. You have 10 minutes to present your appeal.
Okay, I do see that someone has their hand up. Did you guys want to take that before I got started? I don't want to interrupt.
No, I withdraw.
Thank you. Okay, well, let me jump right in. First of all, let me introduce myself. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to address you all. First, my name is Seth Sturm. I'm the founding chair of the Indigenous Caucus. I'm biracial Navajo, member of the Navajo Nation. I'm an active member of many organizations. I serve on the standards board of a major food transparency nonprofit. I was part of the team, the 2-person team that helped elect helped make history when Mary Ann Claytor secured the 2016 nomination for West Virginia State Auditor and became the first African American to win a statewide contested primary in West Virginia. Now, we're here tonight to discuss not only the future of the Indigenous Caucus, but the future of our party. The story of the Indigenous Caucus is one of marginalization, one of harassment. It's a systemic silencing of diverse voices within our party. It's a story that begins with hope and ends in betrayal, a story that lays bare the deep rot of racism and disenfranchisement festering within our ranks. The AAC, the Affirmative Action Committee, was created to champion diversity, initially included leaders from 9 caucuses, only 4 of which represented racial diversity. Its goal was to spearhead diversity efforts, including the party's affirmative action plan. But from the start, the voices of racial minorities were sidelined. The party prioritized starting non-racialized minority caucus. And the result was that the initial AAC was majority white, with only the Black caucus formed when leadership and at-large committee seats were elected and subcommittees formed. This set the stage for marginalization of the racialized diversity caucuses that would form about a month later. And I assert that this exclusion was not accidental It was a deliberate choice by AAC leaders to concentrate power while paying lip service to diversity and inclusion. Despite the agreement with the DNC to form these caucuses and ensure BIPOC voices were heard and represented, the party failed to follow through. Instead, selective membership was offered to certain caucus chairs, while others, like Mary Ann Claytor and myself, were arbitrarily denied. These acts of marginalization were compounded by a disturbing abuse of power by the AAC and party leadership. Then secretary, now chair of the AAC, I will call it the AAC. I understand they changed their names. It's 3 years of this. Selena Vickers worked tirelessly to control the AAC's operations and stifle elected caucus representatives. Vickers scripted the first AAC meeting, advised at-large members and chairs on actions and motions during their first WVSDEC meeting in June of 2021. Mary Ann Claytor has reported that Harold Ickes, a member of the Rules and Bylaws Committee that formed the AAC, admitted to advising Vickers on how to, quote, outvote Mary, Seth, and the others at a planning subcommittee meeting. Former AAC chair and former Monongalia County chair, Democrat chair Shane Asadzandi, coordinated with AAC members to orchestrate an online smear campaign against me, which garnered over 200 comments, with many directing rude and racist comments to members of the Indigenous Caucus. In another instance, a senior caucus member accidentally forwarded me an email from Vickers attempting to coerce that member into sending a mass email attacking me. The racism and hostility faced by the Indigenous Caucus extended beyond the AAC leadership. Former delegate Cody Thompson, who served as male co-chair of the LGBTQ caucus at the time, engaged in discriminatory actions, including falsely claiming Indigenous ancestry, tweeting about my hypothetical abduction by aliens, saying he would be glad if I was gone from Earth forever, launching xenophobic attacks against his Hispanic opponent for the House of Delegates, and this year attacked the character of Democratic nominee for state auditor Mary Ann Roebuck Claytor, comparing her to Dawn Blankenship. At another point, a member of the executive committee, Gims Kinderman, sent an email questioning the legitimacy of our caucus and referred to us as a cry from a few lost souls in the wilderness. This shows a deep level of entrenched and probably subconscious bias, racism, however you want to put it, but the end result is the same. These statements are offensive. Even more disturbing are the actions of Board of Appeals member Susan Miley, who in response to my objections to Kinderman's racist remarks, dismissively asked why I was offended by a question. She would then go on to make several racist comments challenging my Indigenous identity based on my skin tone. It's important to understand that these actions were an assault on the principles of democracy and representation the party claims to hold dear. By systemically excluding and suppressing BIPOC voices, party leadership has effectively silenced entire communities and denied us our rightful place in the democratic process. Faced with a relentless campaign of harassment and discrimination, the executive board of the Indigenous Caucus disbanded as a protest. However, the executive board inadvertently violated members' rights by not providing enough notice before taking such a dramatic action. After 7 months of being ignored, the executive board wanted to make right our mistakes, but when we attempted to reform, we were met with resistance and procedural posturing, further stripping our members of their right to self-determination and autonomy. Selena Vickers, as chair of the Rules and Bylaws Committee and the Affirmative Action Committee, pushed through bylaws changes and affirmative action plans mentioning the Indigenous Caucus, codifying our exclusion. This after attempts by us to reform. In addition to changing party rules, official communications before the July grievance hearing were rife with misinformation and deceit. For example, the motion to dismiss filed by the WVDP was filled with demonstrably untrue statements of fact. Then Susan Miley, who I've already demonstrated, you all have a list of these documents and screenshots and emails, refused to recuse herself, claiming that she had never made any comments disparaging towards me. Now, following this decision of the Board of Appeals not to reinstate the caucus, Mary Ann Claytor tried to exercise her right to overturn a Board of Appeals decision at any regular meeting of the Executive Committee. This was in December of 2023, but she was told that her motion would be out of order until I filed a second appeal. I believe that this violated her rights as a member to address these Board of Appeals decision at any regular meeting, regular or special meeting of the Executive Committee. And now we're all here faced with this, what I believe to be a fabricated second appeal process that's wholly unprecedented, and I believe lacks legitimacy. It's just meant to further drag out this process and increase confusion. And in just a few minutes, you're going to hear party leaders respond by telling you, I'm a bad faith actor. I have a history of harassing Democrats. That the caucus has no standing since we disbanded, and that it would be improper to reinstate the caucus when the affirmative action plan and the bylaws codified our disbandment. But what you will not hear is party leadership addressing the direct claims made by the members of the Indigenous caucus. And you have to ask yourself why. We can no longer deny what's staring us in the face. The impact of these actions on the members of the Indigenous caucus can't be understated either. Can't be overstated either. The leadership's efforts to silence dissent and maintain control have left our members feeling betrayed, excluded, and disillusioned. Whitney Wells, a single mother and member of a federally recognized tribe, joined our caucus with hope and excitement, only to be met with a wall of resistance and discrimination. Jason Hayes, a disabled former volunteer firefighter who found new purpose in advocating for Indigenous rights within the party, has been made to feel unwelcome and unwanted. The procedural obstacles and bad faith arguments employed by the party have taken a toll on our younger members as well. Christopher Hayes, Jason's son, who turned 18 just this past year, has witnessed firsthand the mistreatment his father has endured and now questions the very legitimacy of political parties. And perhaps most tragically, Charlene Myers, a member of the Navajo tribe as well as I, has faced some of the worst harassment of any of our members, and as a result, has left the Democratic Party entirely and supports Trump's efforts to contact her have been met with hostility. These are the actual costs of the party's failure to address racism and discrimination within our ranks. These are the lives that are impacted, the voices that have been silenced. This is the potential that has been squandered, the human toll of systemic injustices that the Indigenous caucus has fought so hard to fight. How long must we endure the silencing of Indigenous voices? How long must we tolerate the marginalization of diverse perspectives? How long must we accept the abuse of power by those who claim to lead us? The answer is up to you, members of the West Virginia State Democratic Executive Committee. Tonight, you wield the power to change our party's course, reinstate the Indigenous caucus, launch a full investigation into the racial and trans discrimination allegations that face our party leaders. It's time to shed the weight of past injustices and steer our party towards growth and renewal. Act now, and let's transform our ideals into action. The future of our party is in your hands. Let's not let it rot away. Act boldly, act justly, and act swiftly. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sturm. I'll now call on Chair Pushkin to provide his response. Chair Pushkin, you have 10 minutes to provide your response.
Okay. Am I unmuted?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Before I get started, just a little bit of a background. Back in, I believe it was in 2018, my introduction to Mr. Sturm was, I believe he was co-hosting a podcast, and I used a lot of that time and energy to, I believe, to unfairly attack two of our first-time candidates for House of Delegates, two women who were running for the first time, and were actually successful candidates that year. It's actually two members of our committee, and that's former delegate Cindy Lavender Bowe and former delegate Amanda Estep Burt. That was my first encounter with Mr. Sturm. I'd only heard his voice. I didn't know anything about who he was, where he was from, but that was my first encounter. Was his the amount of energy he spent on attacking Democrats, and good progressive Democrats and successful Democrats who won that year. That was my first encounter. Afterwards, I've tried a couple times to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I've just found that he's not somebody that has acted in good faith and has the goal of helping to rebuild this party, helping to grow the party with an ultimate goal of electing Democrats for the betterment of West Virginia. But I'm going to go ahead and get started now with the response. This is what we're dealing with. From before I was ever elected chair, throughout my election, the entire time I've been chair, I'm often receiving something like this on my phone where a good Democrat is being harassed by the grievant, Mr. Sturm. It's constant. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to let the grievance words and actions speak for themselves. Now, here's a photoshopped image of then Delegate Cody Thompson, member of our committee. Delegate Thompson was the only openly gay member of the legislature at that time. Here the grievance is saying, we did do share, but I also did Delegate Cody Thompson as Mel Brooks in Blazing Saddles. They darker than us. No shit, Cody. You're a white man. Here is the share meme he was referring to that he made. So you may be asking yourself, what horrible thing did Delegate Thompson do to deserve that level of harassment? Delegate Thompson posted on social media, I do identify as Caucasian, white, but I'm also proud of my Native and Hispanic heritage. That's what Cody did. Delegate Thompson had the results of a DNA test and apparently learned that he had some Native American and Hispanic ancestry. Sharing that he was proud of this while not claiming either of those as his identity was the thing that led to those memes and more harassment, simply saying that he was proud of his ancestry. Continuing with this harassment of Delegate Thompson, here is a meme not related to Delegate Thompson, but the grievant replied to it stating, is this Cody as a child? I can't tell. This conversation was brought to my attention, and hope I'm able to play it. And you all should be aware of how the grievant identified prior to the development of the Diversity Caucus. This is from a podcast that he did with Marianne Clater called Take a Stand with Seth and Marianne.
You know, I always like diversity, unlike you.
I am an Indian white, I'm a Navajo / white man.
When it's convenient for you. I can't do that. I can't go in there,
you can
change the color, because I do, I have some Caucasian blood running through my bloodline, but I can't take off this brown
Lucky
skin
you, am I right?
when it's convenient, like you do.
No, I don't take it off when it's convenient. I put it on when it's convenient.
I know.
Nobody can tell. Nobody can tell I'm Navajo unless I tell them.
Side. I always like diversity, unlike you.
I am an Indian.
I'll repeat what he said. I don't take it off when it's convenient. I put it on when it's convenient. This is West Virginia State Democratic Party. This West Virginia State Democratic Party made history by electing the first Black person to represent us on the Democratic National Committee, Delegate Danielle Walker, who was our vice chair prior to resigning to be the director of the West Virginia ACLU. As many of you know, Delegate Walker has faced horrendous harassment and threats for her advocacy and for her work. She literally has had to wear a bulletproof vest to work and to events because of what she stands for. The grievant tweeted, when do you plan to address the outright racist tactics used by Delegate Thompson? Those racist comments where Delegate Thompson said he was proud of his ancestry. Delegate Walker simply told the grievant that she didn't have any information on the issue. In response to the grievant tweeting about her, Vice Chair Danielle Walker posted, I will not be a co-signer of things I didn't witness. Please don't pull me in any conspiracy theories. Why are my DM messages blowing up? I know nothing. I can't speak on it. Then the grievant posted this. Delegate Danielle Walker has turned her back on the BIPOC communities. BIPOC stands for Black, Indigenous, People of Color. Danielle Walker continued to turn her back on Black and Indigenous people because she knows her lifestyle comes from pandering to fake woke white people. One of the most progressive and hardworking Democrats in our state accused of pandering and turning her back on people because she said she would not be a co-signer of the things she didn't witness. These are a few of the many, many examples of good Democrats being harassed by the grievant while claiming somehow that he was the one being harassed. On September 12th, 2022, the grievant sent a resolution to the West Virginia Democratic Party leadership stating that he and the other Indigenous Caucus board members resign effective September 13th, 2022, and that they dissolve the Indigenous Caucus effective that same day. In part, the resolution states, resolved, the Indigenous Caucus board members resign effectively end of day, September 13th, 2022, and resolved that the Indigenous Caucus of the West Virginia Democratic Party be dissolved. Not only did they resign, they dissolved their caucus. Then on April 13th, 2023, 7 months later, I received this email from the grievant, which states, I'm writing to officially rescind my resignation as the chair of the Indigenous Caucus effective immediately. I'm writing to announce that I have called an emergency meeting of the Indigenous Caucus on the 17th of April. On April 14th, the grievant posted on social media that he would be on a radio show representing himself as the chair of the West Virginia Democratic Party Indigenous Caucus, and in fact did go on that station and claim that he held an office within the West Virginia Democratic Party. Now, let me be clear. The diversity caucuses were created by the West Virginia Democratic Party and are an extension of the West Virginia Democratic Party. The party has rules, and someone can't just call a meeting, hold elections, et cetera, and call themselves a leader in the party. We have elections. We have notice outlined in the bylaws. The grievant resigned his position 7 months prior to me receiving this email. All of the members of the caucus had resigned. The caucus was dissolved. There was no caucus to meet and no chair call a meeting. Yet he put himself out as a party leader and went on a right-leaning radio show. On April 17th, 2023, I sent a letter to the grievant instructing him to cease and desist. In part, the letter stated, you are requested to cease and desist from representing yourself as affiliated with the West Virginia Democratic Party. A resignation is a unilateral act that terminated your activities with the Indigenous Caucus. Your conduct terminated your right to further act on behalf of the Indigenous Caucus or the West Virginia Democratic Party. Additionally, we do not approve that meeting notice on our website. It was not an official meeting. It was not duly called according to our rules and by a duly elected chair. There was nothing legal about that meeting. I stand by this decision. I want to be clear that if the grievant wanted to hold a meeting on his own without the association of the West Virginia Democratic Party, I would not have objected. My objection was the use of the words West Virginia Democratic Party and WVDP, especially when purporting yourself out there as something you're not and going on a radio show. On May 18th, 2023, the grievant filed a grievance to the state party with 4 attachments. The introduction of the grievance begins. We, the Indigenous Caucus of the West Virginia Democratic Party, bring forth this grievance. One of the many vague accusations in the grievance is that I make unilateral decisions without consulting the committee. The grievant doesn't state what those decisions are and provides no evidence of any of these accusations. In the meantime, the grievant goes onto a podcast and doesn't know if he filed the grievance on behalf of himself or the caucus.
Chair Pushkin, you got 30 seconds.
We're filing a grievance. I am on behalf. I mean, I don't know if I don't know what I can't. I filed a grievance. I think it was on behalf of the Indigenous Caucus. It was.
So we're filing a grievance. I am on behalf. I mean, I don't know. I filed a grievance. I think it was on behalf of the Indigenous Caucus. It seems to me that if a group of people, regardless of their status as members or not, make a motion or somehow make a decision to file a grievance and ask one to do that, one would remember. Or I wonder if the grievant is making unilateral decisions. I mean, bear with me for 1 second. I'm just disgusted at the constant accusations by the grievant that this committee is discriminating, and the ridiculous accusation that this committee is not following the national charter and DNC bylaws. For those that don't know, we have an affirmative action committee and, more importantly, a diversity and inclusion plan because of years of work by reformers in West Virginia that recognized that our state party was lacking in diversity and lacking in transparency. We don't need to relive all that happened in the past, but let me be clear. Our party is more diverse and more transparent than ever, and it would not have been possible without the help of Selena Vickers and her commitment to our party to be open, diverse, fair, and transparent. She has been attacked over and over and over again by the grievant, who has stated repeatedly that Selena Vickers is somehow a secret operative of the Clintons and their clandestine plan to control the Democratic Party. Because of her commitment to fairness and transparency, we now have 30-day public notices for elections and bylaw changes. That's an incredible change from just a few years ago when there was only 5 days notice required. Just a few years ago, we had practically no diversity on our committee and way more men than women officers. This committee and this party has moved forward in amazing ways, and we have done it quickly. I'm proud to be the chair of the most diverse West Virginia Democratic Executive Committee ever. We have more work to do, especially with getting youth and people with disabilities involved, and we should always be moving forward, but make no doubt that we have made a huge amount of progress and we will keep moving forward. But I want to address the specific allegation that we have not complied with the National Charter, Article 8, Section 3. This is the heart of the diversity and inclusion requirements for state parties. Since 1974, the National Charter has mandated that state parties have a plan to include diverse Democrats on not only the delegations of the National Convention, but on our state governing board as well. In 2021, the state bylaws were changed to provide for an affirmative action plan that would affirmative action committee that would develop such a plan. Diversity caucus were a method for developing membership of the affirmative action committee and to develop the affirmative action plan. I support the diversity caucuses. However, there is nothing in the national rules or our state party rules that requires us to have diversity caucuses. We are required to have a plan that provides for representation of historically underrepresented groups in proportion that group participates in the Democratic electorate. We have that plan. We have approved such a plan at our May meeting, and we approved our delegate selection plan at the same time that was found in full compliance by the DNC. And this committee and the work that we have done is remarkable. And I don't let anyone convince you that it is not. I ask that this committee uphold the ruling of the Board of Appeals.
Thank you, Chair Pushkin. I see that Mac has his hand up. I'd like to call on him.
If it would please the committee, I would like to so move that the Executive Committee of the West Virginia Democratic Party accept the ruling of the Board of Appeals as found in Sturm v. West Virginia State Democratic Executive Committee, and that the issue concerning historically underrepresented groups in the state of West Virginia be referred to the Rules and Bylaws Committee for review and to return recommendations to this committee, and that this motion be considered by a roll call vote. I would like to also inform the acting chair that I would like to reserve my right to speak first on the motion.
All right, you guys are going to have to bear with me as I learn these. I ask for a second, and Ryan, I may need your help to let me see if who's raised their hand, because there's 3 pages and it's hard for me to notice.
I'll second it.
I believe that was Sam Pitzonic. Okay. At this point, Mac, if you would like to speak, we ask that if anybody has something that they'd like to say, to please try and keep their comments to a minute or under if possible, because it's been a long night and I think we can hopefully say our piece succinctly and quickly. Go ahead, Matt.
I will be kind of reserving a magic minute. To inform this committee, my first elected position with the party was as the parliamentarian of the Indigenous Caucus under Chair Sturm's leadership. To recount anecdotally my experience in working with Seth Sturm, I will not be using some sort of bad faith argument or attack a character, but I'll be speaking as a parliamentarian. Seth Sturm had an abject and adverse hatred for the rule of parliamentary procedure. Within our first few meetings, I had pointed out a series of parliamentary fallacies and rules that he had broken. His response to me was, "I don't care." I spoke with a lawyer, never giving any citation as to why, and he said it was okay. Lawyers are not parliamentarians, as hard as that is to believe. And a lot of this was recorded or put together verbally because Seth Sturm did broadcast our meetings live. In another instance, whenever he put out this call, he misrepresented what the committee or the caucus had done. because I did not vote for that motion to dissolve. I have stood proudly by and represented my Indigenous heritage. Whenever I told Seth I had no interest in going on with his plan to submit a blood test requirement for members of the caucus to be voting in full members, as it was against the rules of the bylaws of the West Virginia Democratic Party. Magically, when it was brought up at meetings, the requirement was high enough to cast out me, a person who has 2 sources of Native American ancestry in his blood. I, quite frankly, I find it very opportunist, perhaps. But the part that was left out of Mr. Sturm's appeal is that he was actively encouraging the members of the Indigenous Caucus to revoke their Democratic Party membership, which he himself proudly proclaimed on social media that he had done after supposedly dissolving the caucus. I appreciate what Mike said, in that we have an issue. We do have a way to represent these groups, and I, as a member of these communities, want to see them represented. But this is not an issue for a person who has jumped in and out of the party at will to bring back before us. He resolved it. He can't rescind it at that point. It is the time for this committee to send a recommendation to the Rules and Bylaws Committee, as I so move, that we explore this issue and that we bring back a solid, concrete plan for handling it that is beyond what is called for in our diversity, in our current standing. And I believe that we can do that. And I ask the members of this committee to vote for that motion, because I believe in the party that we have created. And I believe that this issue has been settled and has long been settled. And I thank you all for granting me the time and opportunity to speak to that.
Thank you, Mac. That was very nice. Next that I see raising their hand is Lee Kuntz. He is the seated member as a chair of the County Chairs Association. Lee, if you can unmute yourself and please speak.
Thank you, Ms. Miley. I'll be very brief in that it seems like the vast majority of the time taken by both sides was sort of personal attacks against the other. I don't think that's going to move the party along. However, since Chair Pushkin did mention it, I applaud the fact that we do have a more diverse committee than perhaps we haven't had in the past. But I am imploring this committee that when the time is right, that an Indigenous caucus be reestablished with the Democratic Party. I believe that that is a group in West Virginia that demands to have representation. We do have more diverse members. However, we lost Mr. Starks, an African-American member, due to a resignation. Our African-American vice chair, Danielle Walker, resigned and was replaced with an accomplished yet non-BIPOC person. And our only trans member of the leadership resigned and was not replaced with someone with an LGBT background. And I'm not casting negativity towards the people who took those positions, but that has decreased the diversity that we have. And I think that it's an underlying issue. And I hope that the committee can review that. But again, specifically for the issue tonight, we absolutely need an Indigenous caucus. It needs to be reformed, whomever runs it. Thank you, Ms. Miley, for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Kuntz. Sorry, I was talking, but I was muted and I didn't realize. Next hand that I see raised is Jenny Craig. Please unmute.
Yeah, hi there. I just want to make sure I have Mac. I have your motion correct. So if I could just read what I wrote, just to make sure that I have your motion correct, and then anyone else maybe speaking to or debating it has accurate information. Mac, I move that the EC Executive Committee accept the ruling of the Board of Appeals found in Sturm versus WVSDEC, the issue concerning historically underrepresented groups in West Virginia be referred to Rules and Bylaws Committee for review, and to return recommendations to the committee, that the motion be considered. That's all I have. And then, go ahead.
I sent a written version of my motion to Ryan. And we can forward that to you as well as to Mike.
Just making sure I have it correct.
Okay, I don't see any other hands raised. I do want to do a quick clarification of the motion. A yes vote upholds the decision of the Board of Appeals. A no vote is to overturn the decision of the Board of Appeals. And Jenny, I'm hoping now we can, since there are I don't see any other hands raised. Please call the roll. Members, please indicate when your name is called whether you vote yes to uphold the ruling or no to overturn the ruling of the board.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else, although Susan provided a brief synopsis, does anyone else want me to read it verbatim? I'll go ahead and do that actually. I move that the Executive Committee accept the ruling of the Board of Appeals as found in Stern versus WVSDEC, and that the issue concerning historically underrepresented groups in the state of West Virginia be referred to the Rules and Bylaws Committee for review and to return recommendations to this committee, and that this motion be considered via a roll call vote. So again, like Susan said, a vote yes is to accept the ruling of the Board of Appeals. And so if everyone's ready, I'm prepared to call the roll. Okay. Chair Pushkin.
I vote yes to uphold the ruling of the Board of Appeals.
Vice Chair Torreseva. I saw her on the call earlier. I'll skip her and if she comes back. Second Vice Chair Petzong.
Yes.
Lissa Lucas, Proxy Pam Klein.
Yes.
Elaine Harris.
Yes.
Pat Maroney.
Yes.
Pam Tucker Klein.
Yes.
Chris Pennington, Proxy Tara Rodabaugh.
Yes.
Red Greer, or absent. Cody Thompson.
Yes.
Jenny Craig. Yes. Christina Based, Proxy Tim Vickers.
Yes.
Nick Casey.
Yes.
Nikki Lauer.
Yes.
Lee Kuhn.
Please record me as abstaining.
Thank you. Pam Van Horn.
Yes.
Sean Hornbuckle. Sean no longer with us. Okay. Mike Wolfel. Cindy Lavender Bow.
Yes.
Troy Miller.
Yes.
Penny is absent. Selena Vickers.
Yes.
Dodi Dojaberger.
Yes.
Ariana Islam.
Yes.
Marlene Midget.
Yes.
Josiah Sorrent.
Yes.
James Griffin.
Yes.
Kathy Link, Proxy Teddy Grogan.
Yes.
Michael Travert, Proxy Anna Gillespie.
Yes.
Barb Scott.
Yes.
Sunny Oakland.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Judith Stevens, Proxy Peggy Noyce.
Yes.
Thank you. Ben Barkey, Proxy Karen Coria.
Yes.
Floyd Sayer.
Yes.
Matt Spurlock.
Yes.
Deb McCarthy, Proxy Jim Kovar. Jim still on for Deb? Okay. Mary Ann Clater, proxy Lindsay Cobb.
No.
Someone, if you can mute, please. Mary Ann Clater, proxy Lindsay Cobb.
No.
Thank you. Amanda Eastet Burton, proxy Mike Pushkin.
Yes.
Amanda Shelton, proxy Keith Lay.
Yes.
Keith Lay.
Yes.
Christy Cardwell.
Yes.
Kelly Elkins, proxy Christy Cardwell.
Yes.
Robert Baker.
Yes.
Diane Browning.
Yes.
Davey Spencer, proxy Sam Petzong.
Yes.
Rachel Tompkins.
Yes.
Susan Miley.
Yes.
Dina Armentrout.
Yes.
Jason Armentrout.
Yes.
Dorothy Pangla.
Yes.
Virginia Sign. Is Virginia still with us? Richard Rector.
Yes.
Charlie Streisel. Cheryl Lawrence.
Yes. Charlie Streisel says yes.
Thank you, Charlie.
Sorry.
Cheryl Lawrence.
Yes.
Maria Russo.
Yes.
Ken Collinson.
Yes.
Matt Cotterman.
I vote in the affirmative to uphold the ruling of the Board of Appeals.
Thank you. Patty Hamilton. Richie Rob Proxy Thornton Cooper.
Yes.
Did I miss anybody? Did I miss anybody?
Marcus Wilkes votes yes.
Thank you.
Madam Secretary.
Marcus
Virginia
Wilkes
Stein-
votes yes.
Thank you, Marcus. I had you absent. I'm going to mark you present.
Virginia Sign has texted saying she unmuted and said yes, but doesn't think you heard her.
Okay, thank you. What district is Virginia?
District 15.
Thank you. That'll help me find her quicker. And then Marcus, what district are you? What district is Marcus?
District 6.
District 6. Okay.
6.
Thank you. All right. Those are both changed. Did I miss anyone else? Okay. Hearing none other votes, the yes votes, the affirmative for the motion to accept the ruling of the Board of Appeals in Sturm versus West Virginia Democratic Party passes. I can count the yes votes if you'd like.
That's okay. It needed to be a 2/3 and wasn't anywhere near that. Thank you very much, Jenny, for calling the roll and taking the vote and acting as secretary. And Susan, thank you very much for stepping up and chairing this portion of the meeting where I had to recuse myself. I really appreciate it. I want to thank everybody very much for their time. Any Democrat can file an appeal to the Board of Appeals and has a right to this hearing. So I appreciate everybody's patience. I think it's important that we give everybody their say and their a fair shake. But that's what we're following the bylaws of the party. And thank you all for your patience and your time. I briefly do need to, and Jenny, make sure we get this in the minutes. It's something that I needed to mention earlier, but I definitely need to mention for the record is that we unfortunately received a letter of resignation dated March 1st from Denny Longwell, who resigned, I believe, from the position of second congressional vice chair. Somebody please correct me if I'm wrong. But we received that, and that was effective March 1st.
He
We
was
also
associate chair, Mike.
I'm sorry, associate chair?
Yeah, Mel.
Okay, male associate chair. So yeah, Denny resigned. And also we received a resignation letter from Chase Gerald, which is effective today for the that 7th senatorial district male, one of the 7th senatorial district male. So we have 2 vacancies. I just wanted them to be in the minutes. So everybody can be notified of those vacancies. Okay. Now, I would like to really end on a good note. We had a great weekend. I said we could share some. If I want one, anyone can share one positive story about their county convention. Please raise your hand. Unless somebody has one. There we go. Lee.
Thank you,
You're
Mr.
up.
Chairman. In Jefferson County, we tried something new, which was very successful. Each attendee, we gave them an action packet, which included things that they could do at home to remain active with the party. It included demographic information about the state, so they understand that the problem isn't necessarily that our Democrats aren't progressive enough, and that's why they're not winning, that it's that we do have an uphill challenge, as well as our county demographics. In there, we also included information about how they can submit letters to the editor. We included information about how they can contact Republican legislators and county commissioners who represent them, and things throughout the year that they can do to actually get involved. We had a number of brand new people who had never attended before. In fact, one person saw the notice for the call for conventions on Zach Shrewsbury's campaign Facebook page or Instagram. So we really did attract people we hadn't seen before. But I do believe that the action packets were very, very well received, and want to thank my entire committee who weighed in on those, including Troy and Cheryl, who are on the call tonight. It was a great thing to do, and I'm happy to send the template for that to any committee members who may wish to do something similar in the future. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chair Coons. I really appreciate the work you all did over there. I don't think it goes without saying how important Jefferson County is going to be in this upcoming election. We have a real opportunity to flip a few House seats and flip a Senate seat over there, as well as adding to our turnout numbers in our statewide races. And you have some very important countywide races. The county commission race is really heating up, I must say, lately as well. But good job with the help, the teamwork and recruiting candidates over there. I think we got a real shot over there. So thank you very much. Jenny, do you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to briefly say Ohio County had such a positive county convention. We had over 50 people in attendance. We had lots of brand new faces. We had lots of new faces who ran to be a delegate. We had a crowd of all ages, and we had almost every Democratic candidate in Ohio County that's running for an office, from the top of the ticket all the way down to the municipal races and Board of Education and sheriff, come to speak to the crowd. So that was just really super positive. And Teddy Grogan, I don't know if she's still on the call, but I want to thank her because she worked tremendously hard to make sure it was a really successful convention. And we left tired from all of the planning and everything, but we left really invigorated. And we have a lot of new folks who are interested in learning more and coming to our monthly meetings. So it was very, very positive.
Thank you, Jenny. All right. Well, I appreciate all the work that went into these county conventions. And I know we've got a bunch of people on the ballot who are on this call right now. And I especially want to thank all the members of this committee and those who are filling in tonight. I see Thornton Cooper here, who's running on the statewide office. He's unopposed. He's running for Secretary of State. He has no primary opponent. He is our candidate for Secretary of State. Thank you very much, Thornton. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate you stepping up and running for Secretary of State. Nobody knows more about election law that I know of than Thornton Cooper. So thank you very much. And thank you, everybody. Is there any further business to come before the committee? Okay. Once again, thank you so much. We're going to be continue to be open, transparent, inclusive, and let everybody have their say. In the end, we're going to come together in Democrats because we know what's on the other side, and we know what is the best interest of the people of West Virginia, and that's a Democratic Party that's working together to help elect better candidates and get better people in a better position to make these decisions for the people of West Virginia. It couldn't have been more clear during this last session what this state needs. It needs more good people in office, and that's what we're going to work together to ensure that we do. So I just want to thank everybody again for their time, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Motion carries. And thank you so much